Hello everyone and welcome to another car profile, where if you haven't already guessed, we are looking at the Mclaren 650s GT3. Now we look at a GT3 car, Group 3 car every single week, and this week it is that Mclaren 650s. So it's got a 3.8 litre twin turbocharged V8 engine. It's mid-engined rear wheel drive. One of the most stable MR cars actually in Gran Turismo. 6 gears in this car, and you do rev the nuts out of this car as well to get the maximum speed. In terms of balance performance then, 514 brake horsepower, 1,305 kilograms across all 3 bops there. We are using one across all 3 at the moment. Keynotes for this one, it won at the 12 Hours of Bathurst in 2016. It has been replaced since by the 720s GT3. And actually, that's had a replacement as well in terms of the 720s GT3 Evo. It did replace the MP4-12C though. And let's jump into the car profile to see where this sits then in GT7. So as always, we start off with the low-speed bop test, which is at Laguna Seca. Now, some of you are going to be like, Tidge, you've got a new wheel. Surely this isn't fair. Well, I've done a bit of practice with this McLaren once again, just to get back up to speed here as we approach this. Now, I did go wrong there into turn 1. You may have noticed that. Went a bit deep. And we are going to be comparing against the Porsche 911. So we are a bit down there, 3.5 tenths down. But remember, we take the optimum times in the end. And down at the bottom, you can see those optimum times. We are 2 tenths off our best in sector 1 essentially, so we obviously use them at the very end. But in terms of comparing fastest laps, we do have to race some cars here just to show what it's like on a fast lap here. And as we head towards this left-hander, it was very good here. It really was. You could really chuck it in and accelerate out. In fact, I got so confident I was chucking it in too hard and actually going a bit too wide there. The corkscrew, it does suffer a little bit with that mid-engine weight rotation that can happen, but not on this lap. This lap we do nail it indeed as we go down here. Then we are only 4 tenths down on the Porsche. We lost what, a tenth there in that second sector as we head through this final sector here at Laguna Seca and towards the last corner. As I said in the intro, you do rev the nuts out of this car, so I'm going to drop it to first gear as I leave this corner, try and straighten the car up as best as I can, and as I leave there, going to accelerate towards the line then. Are we going to be beating the Porsche? I don't think so, because of that sector 1. We are 5 tenths down there, so in the end, we only lost a tenth and a half in the other 2 sectors. Be interesting to see where the Optimum sits though on this leaderboard, and that is what we do, because of course it's very much easy to get 10 best sectors across many laps, or 3 best sectors across 10 laps than it is on one given lap. Comes on with P8 then in the end. It does suffer a little bit in low speed corners, I found, in terms of steering into the corner, and understeers that little bit, but that makes the car a little bit safer potentially. So it is sitting in P8 at the moment. Very much in the top half of the grid though, and we'll see how it does in the medium and high speed test, which are what are coming next essentially in this bop test. If you're new to these car profiles / bop tests, we will review these tests. If there's a patch change and a significant physics update, I will redo them and do a summary video. We head to Suzuka for the medium speed bop test here, and going into turn 1. This car actually liked turn 1, to be fair. In fact, the whole of sector 1, this car felt really good, really good. I could chuck it in 3rd gear. It's not got that weird gear issue there. Here, I can go through here, but as I drop towards 90 miles an hour and then going below that, that's when it starts to understeer a little bit, because the downforce isn't really playing a factor. Let's see what it's like at the end of this sector. Oh, hello. We are up on the Toyota Supra then. That's the fastest car in terms of fastest laps that we are racing at the moment. That Toyota Supra is being beaten as we head towards Tidgney 1 then. Good little test of suspension here. Going through there. Not too bad on that bump as we go into Tidgney 2. And it really like Tidgney 2 actually. On the exit, I could just floor it. A very stable car, this. It really is. As we've lost a bit of time then to that Toyota Supra. Just going down a bit. But remember, that car was very strong. The low-speed corners, this is where this car really does suffer. It doesn't really want to turn, and you can see here, I'm trying to get on the power to stop any oversteer and really get going so I can get into the downforce range and really start pushing this car. Low-speed corners, it struggles with. Medium speed is absolutely fantastic here, this McLaren. It really is. As we head towards this left-hander then at Spoon. Goes from medium speed to low speed later on. And you can see here the car starting to want to understeer. So down to 2nd gear. Really wants to get on the power early here. Get a bit of rotation out on the exit. And again, I mentioned it earlier. It's one of the most stable MR cars in this Group 3 category. It really is. So it's very similar to the Porsche in that sense. As we head towards the line then, what are we doing versus the Toyota Supra? We've lost a bit more time there. Down to 2 tenths on that Toyota Supra as we go through the 130R. Did well there, to be fair. Around 147, 148 miles an hour as we go into the Casio Triangle. I did find it a bit clunky here, to be honest with you, going through here. Just felt like I couldn't get the turn in and want to go, really. So it did struggle a little bit through there. But that does make it feel at least that it's not going to beat the Toyota Supra, and it doesn't indeed. 3 attempts down there. That was on the final lap of the test, of course. If you're new to the car profiles, we do 10 laps here, an out lap, and then the actual 10 laps of the qualifying laps, essentially. Where's it sit on the leaderboard, though? P6 in the end, not too far off there in the grand scheme of it. Very much up there in terms of the meta cars. We're seeing a lot of those meta cars there, except the Ferrari, I would say. You know, that is the meta car section at Suzuka, and it's very much faster than a lot of other cars here as well. Yes, I do have a new wheel. Potentially, it's losing a tenth there because I'm getting used to the new wheel. But as I said, I did some practice. I've been doing some beat the meta this week as well. So very much, I am getting up to speed very quickly with this wheel, and we are seeing some of that performance. We're going to go to the high-speed test now, which is going to be at Bathurst, which, of course, is where this car got a very, very, very big victory in 2016 in the Bathurst 12 hours as we go through that left-hander. Didn't actually get impacted by that bump on the inside too much. A lot of cars do get impacted by that. Not so much here in this McLaren 650s. And we're racing the BMW M6. I will get my words out here as we head towards Sector 1. Just down on that car then. Just under half a tenth down on it as we head towards this right-hander. Now, this one was a really interesting corner to try and get right. In second gear, it just turned and went for it. In third gear, it did suffer a bit of understeer, so I had to stay in second as long as possible. As we go into here, though, it loved this bit of this mountain. Honestly, I could just go through here. No real dramas there at all. I could accelerate out. And as we go up here, it was the right gear at the right time. It's like this car's been geared to Bathurst, if I'm honest. I can accelerate through there, no problems whatsoever. And going down and through the mountain, medium speed corners, I said this before, it's so good. Look how much speed we carry through there. And coming through this here, oh my word, the speed and turning. It just turned and went. One of the fastest cars through there. And as we head down the hill then, what we're looking here, 1/10 down on that BMW as we go down here. And you could settle the car very nicely. It did suffer a little bit on this dipper here with a bit of oversteer. Not too bad on this lap though, as we head down toward Forest Elbow then, looking to slow the car down. Did struggle in the slow speed section again. Wanted to understeer quite quickly, so I had to stop it a bit earlier. Get a good exit though as we continue on to this straight then. Where are we sitting versus this BMW M6 then? Because that was quite an aggressive Sector 3 then as we head towards this sector time, and then we will see that BMW M6 not strong in a straight line, of course. We 5 thousandths off for the BMW M6. Oh, it's on here, folks. It's very much on. As we come into here, we just clipped over to 171. That's a speed trap that we have set up there. It just clipped over. I can tell you that in editing. I did see 171. As we continue on through then towards the final corner, can we beat that BMW M6? Very much a handling car. It's a surprise. It is obviously the top speed winner at the moment in terms of the high speed, should I say. It's not got the top speed, but it's the fastest at the high speed circuit. Anyway, we go towards the line and we are down by a tenth then, but not too shabby at all by the McLaren there. So really, it's showing its strength. It did that in real life. It's doing it in the game as well. Quite surprising, really, that that's like for like, but it is what it is. And as we go to the leaderboard, it's third place. It's very much up there. It could have easily taken P1 here, this McLaren 650s. It is so good on the mountain. So good. Literally, when Bathurst comes up for Group 3 again, I am picking this car. It is so good. It feels good there. It's, I can't say it anymore. It is just so good. So we've got then the top 18 cars that we have done. Now, they're all the BOP tests that we do in the car profiles. We're going to jump now to some fuel tests and tyre tests because we do test that environment out as well. What we do in the fuel test, which is changing again, I will talk on that in a second though. It's top left, we've got the maximum RPM gear shift change. On the top right, we've got a quarter shift. And down at the bottom, we've got a quarter shift plus fuel map because as we all know, and as I always say, fuel map is the worst way to save fuel. Now, I did say you rev the nuts out of this car, so we expect short shift to be absolutely terrible. We'll see what happens. So we head towards the 2,000 meter line. That's where we're going to stop the fuel test and see where we are here. So we test a bit of performance here as well. So on the top left, we've stopped there. 60% of fuel remaining. I think that's a 25.3. It's obviously very small on my screen because I've got all the editing stuff at the bottom. Does look like the quarter shift is going to be the next one to finish. So what we'll do, we'll play that, and there we go. That finishes with a performance loss there, of course, in terms of the time. And that finishes on 64% fuel. It's only 4% fuel saved there. That's not a lot saved compared to a lot of other cars. We'll have a look at the leaderboard in a second. And then we've got down at the bottom, quarter shift plus fuel map, and that finishes on 70% there, well into the 26s. So I did say there's going to be a change to the fuel test here. We're actually going to turn to automatic for the full maximum rev fuel test, and we're going to do a fuel map with automatic as well, doing the gear changes. So the shifts are going to be half shifts as well. So that's all going to change. You'll see that in the future, but these tests still remain the same because we can still have a look at the cars. Now, in terms of the 2,000 meter test here, It's not there, is it? It is not there. It's not in the top 10 at all. So we're going to have to see what happens in terms of the other parts of the leaderboard then as we go to, P15. P15 for this car. 25.3 ahead of some cars, though. So fair play to it. That's at maximum RPM, of course. And that's just where I say at the end of the bar rather than the maximum RPM, just to clarify that. So obviously the quarter shift, we know you do have to rev the nuts out of this car. So I didn't expect it to improve there into that top 10. And what we're going to do, actually, is go to the next part of the leaderboard and see where it sits. And for a second week in a row, we're down at the bottom. You know, we did the Hyundai Genesis last week. This week, the McLaren is even slower. It's even slower with the quarter shift there. And it doesn't save as much fuel either. It's really low down on saving fuel. It's not a good fuel saver at all, that car. It really isn't. So we're down on the Fuel Map 3 quarter shift test now. And it's definitely not in the top 10 there. We can see that quite clearly here. As we get ready to have a look at the bottom half of the table, see if it goes up any point there. No, just loses even more time against everybody else. That McLaren is shocking. Cannot save fuel. So if you have a fuel saving race, do not use this car. It's not good at all, it appears from these tests. And that is going to be the end of the fuel test. I say they're going to change going forward. And I'll make sure they're in for the next car profile that we do. And I'll keep you up to date with all of those. Of course, if you've got any questions about these tests, do check the description first before asking them. Lots of questions have been answered there, and I do try and update that as I go through these tests. For the tyre wear test, this is one of 2 tests that we do here. So we're on the oval. This is without human interaction, essentially. We keep to the lowest line here and just keep going round until the tyre runs out. The first tyre runs out, whichever one that may be. Now, you do, on this test, have to look at MR versus MR and FR versus FR. That's obviously the drive terrain of the car here. Because literally it's where the weight is balanced in terms of how it gets used, but the rears take more of a battering here, so obviously the MR cars are going to be lower down. But this is about human interaction because we know braking and steering input can impact tyre wear. We've just finished there on the third lap with the 13.830. So we add that to lap 2 and lap 1. That gives us an overall time in terms of how long the first tyre lasted before it went to 0% tyre wear. It's not the only test we do because a lot of people wanted human interaction. So here we've got braking, accelerating, steering, everything like that in this test. As we leave this corner, we're going to get a bit of oversteer actually on exit. And this is the thing that you've got to be wary of here with human input. We go to lap 6. This is 1 lap later than normal, folks, because we normally go to lap 5. So these tyres have lasted a very long time on this McLaren 650s, actually. And as we go through here, we just finish up there on the time. So that 22.281, we add that to all of the other laps, all 5 laps down the right-hand side. And that gives us a total time as well. So going to lap 6, it does mean it's going to be very much up there on the leaderboard. We know a couple of cars have been on lap 6 when they've run out of tyres. Let's have a look at where they all sit then in terms of that leaderboard. So first up, we have the oval test where it comes home in P10. In fact, I believe that is the highest MR car in terms of tyre wear there, the McLaren, which is to be expected, of course, because it's very stable as well as a car. So, you know, I expect it to be there. And then you can see all the MR cars. They're all there, except the Chevrolet, of course. So you got the Porsche, the Ferraris in there, the Audis, the Alfa Romeo. They're all MR cars. They're all down towards the bottom. So McLaren's doing fairly well in terms of tyres. Look at the circuit, though. It's top. Now, I know I don't have all the cars here on the circuit at the moment, but that's an unbelievable tyre wear. You know, that can save tyres very nice indeed. And I believe it's the stability of the car. It just holds tyres very nicely. Medium speed corners. It could be track related as well a little bit there, which is why it's so far up. 171 miles an hour on the board there in terms of the speed, top speed split there that we did. It's bang in the middle there, bang average in terms of speed, which is fair dues. You know, it's faster than these guys here down in the bottom end of that table. So that is the top speed there. The Hyundai was way low there, isn't it? Same with the Aston Martin. So this car is very good indeed. Just how good is it? It's P5. It's up there with the Meta cars. It is a Meta car there. You know, it's this category up here. The Porsche down to the McLaren. That is the Meta car territory, I would say. Then we have the next pack, which is the mid pack. The Aston Martin downwards. They are the mid pack. And then we've got some low lights there with the Ford GT, the Nissan GTR GT500, and the Aston Martin DBR9 GT1. But that is it in a nutshell in terms of this car profile for that McLaren 650s GT3 car. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. As always, do give it a like and subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. We do these car profiles every single week, and it's possible that the Group 4s are going to go alongside the Group 3 ones, so do keep an eye out for that. I'll say there's going to be a couple of test changes. I will redo those tests for those cars that haven't done those tests, of course, and everything will be updated for you. And do keep an eye out very soon on the website. There's going to be even more information regarding this. The last car profile I did is right there for you. The Beat the Meta I did the McLaren win with a few months ago is there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.